Hello, this is Romain Grosjean, and I'm going to take you to a lap of Le Castellet. It's just starting the lap. Quite a good straight line before turn 1. A bit of a bumpy braking there, not so easy to see, blind apex. And then you don't want to touch too much the curb on the right hand side of that first chicane. And then another quite good straight with another very late braking, carrying a lot of speed into that right under corner. And then a long left where you really want to position yourself as much as you can for the right corner, which is gonna prepare the long back straight of Mistral, flat out through the ACs here, turn 7, using the GRS and all power you can down that straight line, quite bumpy, but good fun. And then very important braking there for the chicane in the middle of Mistral. Few different possible line, depending on how much speed you want to carry to the first part or the second part, and then again a very important throttle application. And then we're going to Sing corner, flat out corner, even in the race, really high speed. And then we're going to the double right of Le Bosset, which is one of the most incredible corners of the year. Again, depending the wind or the balance of the car, the line changes a lot in between going wide or pretty narrow. And then we've got a braking with quite a fair bit of G's before attacking the last part of the lap. Another long left corner, quite high speed, before jumping on the brake for the last corner of the lap. And there again, very important to apply throttle early as there's a big straight line after.
Formula One's relentless pace of development continued ahead of the French Grand Prix, with teams showing off new aero parts and upgrades under the hood too. Red Bull running a new power unit from Honda, along with Toro Rosso's Danik Fiat. But all three were in a spin. First Fiat at turn 5, Max Verstappen at turn 8, and Pierre Gasly at turn 4.
How are the tyres? How are the flat spots?
Tires are square.
Tyre wear was dramatic during first practice, with drivers fighting for grip on the green surface and mistakes aplenty. Ferrari Charles Leclerc summing up his struggles succinctly early on.
Man, there's something very weird on the front right. My tyre is dead.
Leclerc would recover to set the third quickest time of FP1, 2 places ahead of teammate Sebastian Vettel, who bounced back from narrowly missing out on victory in Canada last time out by marrying his long-term girlfriend ahead of this weekend. Both drivers were heavily testing front wing upgrades and a rumoured new diffuser. Lewis Hamilton leads the championship by 29 points from Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas, and the duo were fastest again in FP1. Hamilton 0.07 of a second faster as he goes in search of a second successive victory in France. Strange things afoot at Renault as both Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg suffered with smoke in their cockpits, the floor of their cars rubbing on the circuit beneath their feet.
There's some good barbecue in here.
Copy that, Nico.
Renault were celebrating their home race at Le Castellet, along with Gasly and Romain Grosjean, both drivers sporting bespoke helmets for the occasion. The pair each failed to score here in 2018 and will be hoping for more luck this year, though Grosjean's session was curtailed by a water leak in his Haas. So Leclerc 0.3 back from Hamilton, while Verstappen manages to split the Ferraris in P4. A strong showing also for McLaren, with Norris and Sainz 7th and 8th, and looking closely matched with Renault, Toro Rosso and Racing Point. Both Haas and Alfa Romeo look to be struggling, while F2 Championship leader Nicholas Latifi began a busy weekend by taking the wheel of reigning champion George Russell's Williams for first practice, the Canadian 18th fastest and marginally quicker than teammate Robert Kubica. Lewis Hamilton's spectacular slide lit up second practice in France. The World Championship leader lost the rear of his Mercedes into turn 4 and flew across the corner, wiping out the fluorescent yellow bollard in the process. The incident compromised the lap of a charging Max Verstappen, who ran off track in his Red Bull as he understeered away from the apologetic Hamilton, an incident the stewards would look at after the session. After missing key running in free practice 1 due to a water leak, home hero Romain Grosjean was under pressure to deliver in free practice 2. But this lockup caused the Haas driver to suffer big vibrations from a severe flat spot on his tyres, and the frustration boiled over inside his helmet.
It's a joke. Did we get touching? Why is the outside wheel just locking like this?
No touching, it's not touching related. Romain, we need to abort this, we need to box the loads are too high.
But I don't really care.
Grosjean returned to the circuit to valiantly fight gusting winds, but struggled with his setup and ultimately ended the session down in P17, with teammate Kevin Magnussen sneaking into the top 10. Nico Hülkenberg had a big off in his Renault at turn 12, and Sergio Perez suffered damage to his front wing as he fought his racing point over the curbs at Circuit Paul Ricard. McLaren were the surprise of the day. Confirming their pace from FP1 was no fluke, the Papaya cars flew to the 5th and 7th quickest times through Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz respectively. It wasn't all smooth sailing, with Sainz the only driver not to run either of the 2 harder compounds, and Norris reporting some problems with his battery pack late on. But the leaderboard doesn't lie, and the team are looking strong. But it was Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas that set the overall pace in second practice, 4/10 ahead of Hamilton, whom he trails by 29 points in the battle for the World Championship. Charles Leclerc was over half a second down on Bottas, but pipped Ferrari teammate Sebastian Vettel to P3, with Verstappen only P5, though he was unable to get a clean flying lap done on low fuel. A better showing for Alfa Romeo, with Kimi Raikkonen P9 and Antonio Giovinazzi confirming their improvement in P11, while the Renaults of Ricciardo and Hülkenberg both slipped down the pecking order from first practice, ending up in 12th and 14th in second practice, ahead of the team's home race. Valtteri Bottas was flying in France, blasting to the top time of final practice, with Lewis Hamilton going off track as he pushed his Mercedes to the max in trying to keep up with his flying Finnish teammate. A second attempt was just 0.04 of a second off the pace, but it was Bottas firmly on top, with Ferrari's Charles Leclerc a full 0.4 of a second away from the flying Silver Arrows, whose advantage is clearest to see in the final sector of the lap at Circuit Paul Ricard. The newly married Sebastian Vettel was 0.2 further back from Leclerc in P4, with Max Verstappen fighting his Red Bull to 5th position, albeit 1.3 seconds off Bottas's electric pace. France's Pierre Gasly was just 0.1 slower than his teammate in P6 ahead of his home race, while the fight for P7 looks intense between the revived McLarens, Renault and Alfa Romeo. Romain Grosjean was P14 after what he called his worst Friday in Formula 1. But practice pace indicates it'll be a battle for Toro Rosso, Haas and Racing Point to score points come Sunday. George Russell's session was ruined by power unit problems in his Williams, while Danny Kvyat spent the session focused on his long-run pace to help him fight his way through the field. The Russian will be starting at the back due to a grid penalty incurred for taking a new upgraded power unit from Honda and exceeding his allowance of engine components in doing so. Practice over. It's time to qualify.
We can ride on board now with Kimi Raikkonen. We saw him going off the track. What happened? Whoa! This is Grosjean now, who might feel that Kimi came onto the track and stopped Romain drifting out as wide as he normally would to take the natural line. Kimi Raikkonen goes 4th fastest. Watch the times, they're all going to start changing. Gasly goes 8th fastest. Key for Red Bull there is that his teammate Max Verstappen is slower. Giovinazzi goes 9th fastest, pushes Verstappen down a little bit more as well. Nico Hülkenberg goes 4th fastest. We're watching Perez and Kubica out on the track, but Albon and Ricciardo are out there as well. Perez goes 5th fastest. Verstappen now 12th overall. Robert Kubica will be the next man to cross the line in his Williams. He stays slowest of all as Daniel Ricciardo goes 5th fastest. Alex Albon next. Only elimination in Q1 was when he didn't appear in qualifying in China. He's in the bottom 5 at the moment. He crosses the line and just above that bottom 5 by a 10th of a second. He pushes his teammate Danny Kvyat down into that bottom 5. Now Lance Stroll for racing points will get to the final corner, get his foot to the floor and think, for once, can I get out a Q1 here? It's about time that run came to an end, and it sadly for him doesn't quite happen on this occasion, only by a couple of tenths. His teammate Sergio Perez 6th fastest overall, but Lance Stroll just didn't hook up the lap that he would have wanted. So Sainz, 6th fastest at the moment, crosses the line, stays 6th fastest, courtesy of that error, I think, in the first turn. He's cool, he's calm, he's laid back, but his eyes will have been on stalks going through there. He did well to save it. 4th fastest for Lando Norris. Pushes his teammate into a troublesome zone, I think. Kimi Raikkonen now into the top 9. Giovinazzi replaces him.
Can you be faster? We have 10 seconds margin also, only for Charles.
That's an old message, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, how much more margin do you need? That should be fine, just don't slow down. Yeah, it's fine. No, I'm not slowing, I'm not trying to kill him, so don't worry.
Yeah, it's an old message. Charles Leclerc was worried he wouldn't make it to the line in time to start his lap. Alex Albon goes into the top 10, but only just pushes Kimi Raikkonen out of it. Giovinazzi's out qualified. His teammate once again, Hülkenberg, only 13th fastest for Renault. I wonder what happened here.
Okay, so he lost the lap effectively.
That chicane is so tricky with the bumps on the approach.
You can't afford to brake 2 or 3 meters early.
Valtteri Bottas needs a good final sector, didn't get a great exit there.
The car still trying to get away from him a little bit at the back end, but effectively now 2 corners to go. It's like 160 degrees through there. And then the little clumsy right-hander I've told you about. And it's drive for the line then.
It is, as Max Verstappen with a 1:29.6 sets the new target to aim at. Valtteri Bottas, 1:28.6, goes a full 1 second faster. And his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who was on pole last year here at Paul Ricard, is now on provisional pole in 2019. Next across the line, Carlos Sainz, who goes 4th fastest, only a 10th off Max Verstappen. That time by Hamilton's a new track record, beats his pole time from last year. Charles Leclerc crosses the line, goes 3rd fastest overall, as you would expect. But what's the difference between Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel? Because there's a Ferrari battle on that's really that Leclerc has been winning all weekend long.
Box. Don't know why I had a missed upshift. Okay, box.
Vettel forced to pit because of a missed upshift. So if the clouds and the gods of Formula One are against him, he feels at the moment, the technicals aren't helping him either. Bottas reaches the final corner. Has he made up anything in the final sector? Hamilton right behind him. It's the dash down towards the line. Bottas on the front row, stays on the front row. Could not improve on his time. Hamilton crosses the line. He improves on his time. He is on pole position for the French Grand Prix. It's a 1-2 once again for Mercedes in qualifying. Max Verstappen with a personal best in the middle sector, trying to put some pressure on Ferrari. As crosses the line now, Carlos Sainz to go 4th fastest. Norris then goes 4th fastest, out qualifies his teammate once again. The McLaren head-to-head this year in favour of Lando Norris, 5-3. Max Verstappen goes 4th fastest, reaches the 2nd row. Daniel Ricciardo only 7th fastest for Renault. Sebastian Vettel needs a lap time, only 7th fastest for Sebastian Vettel. That is a major disappointment for Ferrari as his teammate puts his prancing horse on the 2nd row. And for McLaren, big smiles for Zach Brown and Andreas Seidel and their team. It is Norris 5, Sainz 6 on the grid. That's by far their best qualifying performance for many a long time.
That's it, Lewis. Get in there, mate. Well done. That's pole position. Fantastic job.
63 front row lockouts. I think it was McLaren were the first team to get to 62. It was the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2012. And Williams joined them. Ferrari joined them this season. Mercedes joined them this season. And and now Mercedes have overtaken them as well. We've got 5 lights ahead of the drivers, it's lights out, and away we go. The Mercedes get away well, Lando Norris starting well, already up towards Charles Leclerc, pulling out his Carlos Sainz to make a move on Max Verstappen. It's Hamilton out in front from Bottas, and Leclerc wheel to wheel goes Sainz and Verstappen. Through the first corner, Norris just has to concede. Sebastian Vettel making a move there on Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull, who got a really good launch. There's Antonio Giovinazzi looking for a move past Gasly, he can't make it. Sebastian Vettel stays ahead of the Red Bull as well. And going off the track, that's one of the Force Indias. Looks like Sergio Perez having to take the long way round at turn 4.
Yeah, Racing Point, as they call it now, a very forgettable name, it must be said, heading off through the penalty zone, but onto the back straight, and certainly the front of the pack, pretty clean, whilst it being side by side as well.
And there goes the McLaren of Carlos Sainz into the chicane, looking to make a move on Max Verstappen. McLaren all over that Red Bull in the opening corners. This is what it looked like on board with Verstappen.
Yeah, Leclerc got himself a lovely slipstream. Verstappen didn't, because he got hung out to dry basically, didn't he?
Yeah.
The two Mercedes, and Leclerc went to the left-hand side and left Verstappen in his own airstream.
That's brilliant racing though, Leclerc and Verstappen there. So close, but not coming together. Sergio Perez has got a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
It's clear as day what you have to do. He has gone round the other side of that bollard. So what are they saying he's done? He's still gained places by it, even though he's gone through the penalty box.
This is George Russell taking the bold route round, and that's how that bollard got removed. Sebastian Vettel makes that DRS advantage look very easy once again, and after getting past Lando Norris, he's now got past Norris's teammate Carlos Sainz. From 7th on the grid, he's now up to 5th and chasing after Max Verstappen. As we ride on board with Daniel Ricciardo, he's got DRS against Pierre Gasly. He's got warmer tyres as well. Gasly goes to the left-hand side of the circuit, and Ricciardo pulls to the right and pulls ahead of the Red Bull as well. Hamilton is pitting, as you can see. White stripe, hard compound tyre goes on. He had a very comfortable advantage indeed over his teammate Valtteri Bottas. He was half a second quicker in terms of the time he was stationary for his pit stop as well. He should be comfortably ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Daniel Ricciardo and Romain Grosjean getting wheel to wheel through the chicane. Grosjean goes off the track, comes back alongside Daniel Ricciardo, but Ricciardo should be now clear of the Haas, and he is.
He rejoined the track very dangerously and had to go around.
We saw, understood.
Okay, Lando, we're managing a small issue. We cannot use DRS even if it's available. We cannot use DRS.
Like it won't work, or I'm not allowed?
You're not allowed.
Danny Kvyat is down in 15th place, and that car ahead of him is his teammate Alex Albon. The two Toro Rosso drivers really going for it. Medium compound tyre for Kvyat, hard compound tyre for Albon. Looks like the medium is going to give a much better traction for the Toro Rosso driver from Russia as he goes round the outside at Scene. They're going wheel to wheel into the Bose, and he just has to concede for a moment. But as Albon goes a bit deep, Kvyat got interested once again. That's a great little scrap. Romain Grosjean running at the back of the grid for pretty much the entire race. What a miserable weekend it has been for Romain Grosjean in his home race. Into the chicane.
On the outside. Oh, it's tight though.
He's gone all four wheels off the track again there,
same trick he played on Romain Grosjean, but then, look, Norris goes off the track as well. They're all at it.
And now Kimi Räikkönen's come through. Now he's gone all four wheels off the track again. Hulkenberg's getting involved with that. I would suggest the stewards are going to take a look at this as well.
Picked up understeer on his way into turn 8, but look, if the stewards want to stick by the rules, like we saw in Canada...
Well, he's rejoined the track and forced Lando Norris off.
Kimi Räikkönen does nothing wrong. He's guarding to the edge of the circuit, but he gives him room in the end.
Lewis Hamilton wins the French Grand Prix from pole position, and he's led every single lap. He's also got the fastest lap as well. Hamilton completes a very good day as Charles Leclerc makes a move on Valtteri Bottas into the last corner. Can't get past the Mercedes. It's a 1-2 finish for Mercedes here in France. Can Sebastian Vettel take away the extra point from Lewis Hamilton and get the fastest lap? He crosses the line. Now he does.
Phenomenal weekend, guys. Just so proud of everyone. Thank you so much for all the hard work, continued work. Let's keep it up.
I dare say for Charles Leclerc an important weekend to be ahead of his teammate and to get the third place. Not cause for celebration for Ferrari. They came here for better than that. But for Mercedes, it's the winning habits. 8 races gone in 2019. 8 race victories for the Constructors' Champions. And for Lewis Hamilton, 6 wins in the last 7 races. Who can stop him? Just a few days to go until the next race in Austria.